If you've ever wondered what it's actually like to be the dancer of Jennifer Lopez, in today's podcast episode, I get to sit down with my 10-year-long friend, Janick Arseneau, and we go deep into our beginnings in LA, where I met her 10 years ago. She goes to her first ever audition in Los Angeles and books one of the biggest jobs you can book as a dancer. She's also danced at the VMAs. She's been in Netflix shows, but that is not what makes her special. What makes her special is her soul, and she means a lot to me and was one of my biggest inspirations and reasons why I believed that when I first came to LA 10 years ago as a just turned 20-year-old, believed that I could also get a work visa and move to the United States, even though lawyers and everyone around me told me that it was impossible. This woman inspired me and showed me that when you put in the work, you can make anything happen. And in this episode, we dive deep into both her journey as Jennifer Lopez dancer, being one of the main choreographers on this massive dance Netflix show. We speak about how she met her partner, Hannah, and what it is like to come out as a female, falling in love with another female. We talk about how to show up when life gets hard and you have a lot of things that you have to be strong for and show up for, and how you can use your vulnerability as a strength and as a strong, powerful force. I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode, and I hope you enjoy it just as much as I enjoyed having it. Janick, I'm so excited that you wanted to come here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast, because we met almost 10 years ago now when we both first came to Los Angeles. This was the beginning of our journeys, and you played, I'm having shivers as I'm saying this, such a massive role in my belief of what was possible to make happen for your life. When I saw what you did when you first came to LA and I met you, I was mind-blowingly inspired by what you were capable of. And it gave me the belief that, wow, I might be able to do that as well if I put in the work and I put in the belief. And I saw how you showed up and how you moved towards what you wanted with such confidence. And I just, for everyone listening, she came to the States. She was already a well-known dancer in Canada, had danced on all stages for all the performers. Like, she was like the top of the top in Canada, but she comes to LA, goes to one audition through a choreographer friend, and literally books Jennifer Lopez Las Vegas residency for 3 years. You were in it, right? It was like a 3-year contract. Yeah. And I witnessed this because we both moved into something called Home for Dancers. Yeah. And, just two strangers meeting, and I get to witness this beautiful journey of yours. I got to see the first performance you guys did in Vegas. Like, I got to see you shine on stage. It was just so beautiful to witness this journey. Okay. Wow. Now I'm going to stop talking because I want to hear your version of going to LA at that time and going into that audition. What was it like for you?
Well, first of all, wow, what an intro. Thank you. And know that you were a big part of my journey as well. But when I think of you, I think of the healing you pushed me towards. And that'll come into this whole story, because the story has a whole chapter about that. But you really were there as a support and as a light in my journey. And I can't thank you enough. I don't even know if you know how much you inspired me, but we can get to that. But I will talk about.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you.
But yes, I came to LA. First of all, I came to LA with only one suitcase, and I was going to visit and see what's in LA, because as you said, I felt like I was plateauing. In Canada, I had done a lot of things, and Canada, the space I was in, headspace and environment I was in, wasn't healthy. And so I wanted an out, and I kind of wanted to escape and kind of recreate who I am. Start over. And so when I came to LA, that's kind of the mindset I had, a feeling of nothing to lose and everything to gain in such a new and fruitful place. And so I think I was just open to everything that LA had to offer. And when I went to that audition, I wasn't auditioning. I went as an assistant for the choreographer Gustavo. Um, and I didn't know, but J.Lo walked into the space, and I was like, oh, in my mind, I was like, so cool that I get to be in a space with such a powerful woman, and so cool that I get to experience this LA audition. And for me, that was fulfilling enough because I didn't even know, I don't even think I knew my own potential. I kind of was just always in a headspace of being in the moment and giving it my all and connecting to like what I love and my passion. And so when JLo walked in, I was like, cool. I was content. I was like, I can't wait to go back home and tell people I saw JLo. But joke was on me because when she saw me dance, she automatically, I think, was attracted to what I was putting out, which was just pure joy, pure connection, and pure love for what I was doing. We got to like, I don't know if you remember this, but I got to the end of the audition and we didn't like, she didn't choose dancers just yet, but I made it to the last cut. And when we got back to the house with like the 20 dancers that we lived in, we were all in the garage and I was like saying like the story. And we were kind of in a limbo because I didn't have a visa. I didn't have an agent.
I do remember this. It was
I
so
didn't have, I didn't even have a number. They took a white piece of paper and they wrote my name. Like everyone had a
I
headshot, a resume.
remember.
Like I
Yes.
had nothing. I was there with like one suitcase for 1 month. I had nothing.
I have
And
shivers right now because
I
it
like
was such an exciting time. It's moment.
yeah. Yeah, and it was cool because I didn't want to take up too much space in that moment because I knew like these 20 dancers were in the house with the shit with a similar goal and I was so scared to kind of take up too much space and to come off as like look what I just did or like look what just happened. So I was trying to be so quiet and everyone was just giving so much love and like especially you or you included and I couldn't even like put into words what was happening to me. And that being said, I worked on my visa. I had a strong case, but at the end of the day, I couldn't get the job if I didn't have a visa, and I couldn't have a visa if I didn't have a job. So JLo had to take a chance on this small town girl, like from New Brunswick, Canada, and she did. And so that's how I booked JLo. I basically someone took a chance on me based off of that one experience or one perception at that one audition. And all that because I, in that moment and in that headspace, was really connected to my true self. I really wasn't trying to book the job. I really wasn't, like I was fighting because I was there. I was present and I really wanted to be seen, but I wanted to be seen to the best of my capabilities. But
Mm.
that's what I focused on. I focused on showing who I am. And I think now sometimes when I think back at that audition, it made me realize that's what I have to connect to in every aspect of my life. That's what really did it for me that moment. And yeah, so I booked a 3-year job with JLo accidentally, I always say, but we both know it wasn't an accident, but that's what it felt like in that moment. I was like,
It
oops,
was,
what happened?
I feel like it was such a representation of how when hard work meets, what's the saying? When
Oh yeah.
opportunity meets, no, when, what's the
Yeah.
saying?
Well, I think that's it when hard work meets
Meets
opportunity.
opportunity.
Yeah, because
Definitely people who are listening know exactly what we're talking about, but that's what it is because it was
yeah,
years and years and years of hard work that
yes,
when you then was given that opportunity to show all these years of hard work, you'd made it. You were
yes,
the best out of everyone who auditioned, together with the other dancers who booked the
right,
job. And it
right.
was such a beautiful journey for me to get to witness and so inspiring for me. And I know for the people in your hometown and just everyone at home,
Yeah.
for dancers and people who were around you, we were just all cheering on you because it was so exciting. It was beautiful. And getting to see you on stage too, you just shine so bright. Every time I watch you dance, it's
Thank you. You're
just
so kind.
magical. And people who are going to follow you after our conversation, who maybe haven't heard of you before, who now are going to go in and dive deeper into watching you dance and just everything, all the beautiful work that you share online.
That's
What
so
was it
kind.
like when you been given this opportunity and the job then began? Actually, for everyone outside, they watch
Yep.
someone like you get the dream job, dancer for Jennifer Lopez. But I also know that that is what it looks like from the outside.
Yep.
How was it being on the inside and
Um,
actually doing the
yeah.
work?
That job specifically was. I mean, I went through a whole roller coaster of emotions because at first I kind of was blind to a lot of things because I was just so happy to be there. And what was cool in the first part of the job, which was like the building the show and the training, it was kind of cool because we had like a boot camp, but it was our job. So we were paid to go in to work and then train. And then, so to me, I was like, wow, it's kind of like I go my whole life paying for classes and now I'm paid to go in and train. So for me, that aspect was very fulfilling, rewarding. And as you said, it was, you work a whole lifetime to get to that point and it's a dream job and you don't know what to expect. And then you walk into something like very fulfilling. The veil did start to shift after a while. I think at first I was very blinded to by the glam of it all. Of course, J.Lo is an icon's icon. I think she's like the top of the top. She's an A-list celebrity, but she's also a human. And I think at first I had a hard time seeing her as a human. I was a little bit starstruck. I was kind of trying to find my words when I spoke to her, trying to act right. And all that also came into play with a little bit of power and authority dynamics. So everything she said, I think everyone really took as gold, which can be dangerous when you have that power of authority. I think it can be dangerous what you bring into a room, the energy you bring into a room, especially with that stature, I think can really shift positively or negatively a room. So after a while, I did notice that depending on how she felt or depending on the energy she brought into the room, it would shift the energy between us dancers and it would shift our mindset and sometimes not for the best. And so on the inside, it was definitely the hardest working job I've ever been on. And, I believe in hard work and I love hard work. But I think sometimes the line was crossed where it was like overworking or a little bit of toxicity in how we were treated at times. I'm all for making sure dancers are healthy. I'm all for making sure dancers are being taken care of. But then I think there's a way to communicate things that were definitely unnecessary to received on her end at some point. So all that to say, I think it was definitely the perfect job for me at that moment to allow me to grow into the person I wanted to be, because it was kind of offering me a similar situation that I had been in the past. So I think it was perfect grounds to grow and to learn from previous mistakes. And I think it was perfect grounds to put into action the wishes I had asked for opportunities to heal. So I think it was the perfect time to put it into action.
It's so interesting how we are just given
Uh-huh.
the challenges that we need to learn and heal, and we're
Right.
given it's as if we don't heal it that first time, it gets stronger and stronger and
Yeah.
stronger the way that it's given for us
Right.
to really move past it. I
I
can
think you
really,
told, I think you told me that once. I think you said something along the lines of like life will keep giving you the same lessons until you learn it, and sometimes it might keep giving it to you like harsher and harsher. And so I didn't know I was in that situation until I looked back on it and was like, that's what you did, life. You were smart. And maybe
it's
it took me a little too long to realize I was in it, but yeah.
it's wild. But
Mm,
as you were mentioning, you feel like it gave you the ground to grow into what, for example, you're doing today in your life. You've
yeah,
transitioned into, I mean, you've always taught dancers and you've
yeah,
always, or for many, many years at least. And now you do a lot of choreography. You were also on the Netflix show,
I was.
which let's talk about that, because on that show, you were the choreographer who had
Yeah.
to come up with new dances every week. I watched the show, massive fan as
Oh.
always of you and just everything you do. But I'm sure you use some of the tools that you learned as to what not to do and what to do from
Mm.
your previous experiences, because I know it was the J.Lo was just a part of your journey and your
Yes.
experiences. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey of how
Yes.
all
Yeah.
of that felt and was and
Yes,
went?
yes, 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 all that. I'll make a comparison that will lead us into that, but yeah, I was like in charge of setting the tone of the space that I had in comparison to what we just spoke about. Let's say with J.Lo, she came in, she set the tone. And what I experienced with J.Lo is definitely something I was trying to avoid in a space where I was in charge. For example, toxicity starts at the top, then if everyone's scared of the authority, then we'll start feeling the turmoil at the core, at the bottom of it with the dancers. And so I knew if I came in and my energy wasn't right, then my stress or my toxicity could trickle down and then the dancers would feel it, right? So I came in knowing that what I wanted to do was make sure that I do my best to set a safe space. I know we can never promise that because we never know when we step out of line and we don't know everybody's traumas and backgrounds. So I think it's the openness to listen and to adapt and to receive will make a space feel safer. And so that's what I came in with. My goal was to make sure that if I was putting myself in the position of choreographer and teacher and making sure that I was taking care of potentially 100 people, then I wanted to make sure that I was grounded enough to do that. During the filming of this show, I was going through a lot personally, and I thought it was really, really hard to ground myself. And so I think I was fragile. I don't think they really showed it, but I think I was really fragile throughout this whole show. I had lost a friend not too long before we started filming. And so he was heavy on my heart. And while I was at the show, they were holding his funeral, which I missed because I was on the show. So to me, that was very hard to kind of sell this very uplifting experience, which it was in part, but also kind of celebrate someone's life and let go, but not be able to be there to truly celebrate with all his loved ones. And at the same time, my little sister was in a really big car accident, and I wasn't sure if she was going to make it as well. And while I was filming the show, she was in recovery, and every day it was like, oh, I made my first step, or oh, I sat up today, or oh, I did this, I did that. So every day while I was on the show, I was also catching up on my sister's recovery from this big accident. So it was kind of hard to navigate all of that and to be in a space where I was grounded enough and to validate my feelings too, because I didn't want to pretend like real life wasn't happening. And I think it's important to to kind of merge that and not pretend that it's not happening. But it was a very challenging time, both for my career and for my personal life and for my family. So that was very, very interesting to navigate, hard to navigate for that aspect.
I didn't know this. I'm really sorry. I
Yeah.
didn't know you were going through that at the same time.
Right.
Wow, you did incredible.
I
That
appreciate that.
for someone who goes through challenges like that, like real life struggles,
Yeah.
and simultaneously have to show up for whatever it is that they have to show up for. Did you learn something during that time that could help someone who has to figure out a way to navigate something?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that question. Thank you for that question. Yeah. I learned that by just connecting with those feelings and being open and being genuine and authentic in that experience is what's going to make real connections. And it's what's, I think, letting people in those times too is something that will really help probably even use those big emotions to activate your creativity or heal through your creativity. I think I failed a little bit at that. I think I really tried to disconnect both and be like, this is happening in my personal life. Let me push that aside while I do this big TV show and try to be creative and try to connect with people. I think now I'm realizing like that's kind of what I've always done. I've always connected to that hardship and created something beautiful with it. And I think that's what I lacked in this experience, whether it showed or not on TV. I know you probably saw like a fraction of the whole experience, and I didn't get a chance to open up about what was happening in my private life while I was on the show, but I think I could have, and I think it could have been empowering, and I think it could have inspired. And I think by trying to separate both, I think I actually hindered my creativity and hindered my experience on the show. I think it could have really helped heal and help maybe connect more too with people. Not, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I can relate to you. I feel like we're both strong individuals, but we also both have side stories that are very deep, right? And I can relate to sometimes separating the two and wanting to stay strong and not share it. But I can also relate to how during the times when I've been capable of being more vulnerable and letting people in and sharing it and using it in my creativity,
Right.
it's almost created more powerful work.
Right.
So thank you for that reminder and for that message for all of us who, you know, life happens, you
Right.
know, we go through things, it's going to happen again. And just
Right.
that reminder to use it instead of pretend it's not there when we have to step up. And of course, sometimes we have to shut it off because we have to
Right.
step up. But like there's a time and place, and I think it's a really important message. So thank you.
Right, of course. And I think that especially in what we do, right? Like, of course, I love that the fact that you say there is a time and place. And I think I used to think like I'm so strong because I can push it down, but
Hmm.
now I feel differently. I feel like I'm so strong because I can feel it and because I can share it and because I can create out of it. And I think that that's where it's magical, and that's where also I find that I find strength today in releasing it and in creating through it instead of pushing it down. So it's interesting how that shifted to throughout that experience, or
Yeah.
maybe after, I should say. After that experience I was like,
Yeah.
mhm,
That's beautiful.
thanks.
Something else that's beautiful that I got to witness because
Ah,
okay, so just to give the listener a little backstory. So we met at Home for Dancers. We were there for I think I was there for almost 6 months living there. You
yeah,
were maybe for a little less time, I can imagine. But then after that, you moved into an apartment with two other girls where
yeah,
I then also moved in, but I lived in Chelsea's room, one of our girlfriends,
yeah,
Chelsea's room, on an air mattress. And
yes,
sometimes our friend Kat was also on the same air mattress. So we were three girls in a room.
yes,
Someone was often staying in your room as well,
yeah,
sometimes in Lily's room. So this little apartment was packed. Like 10
yeah,
girls, 9 girls,
yeah,
sometimes. Like that was probably the max, but a lot of people were living
yeah,
in that apartment. And you were going back and forth from Vegas, your
yeah,
residency, but you had like weeks off and then you came back to
yeah,
LA. So we got to live together for like a couple of weeks at
yeah.
a time, months at a time. Like, you know, we stayed in the same apartment. And during that time, you got in a relationship. And I got to be a part of the beginning of that.
Yes,
And
true.
I don't know if you'd want to share
Yeah,
that journey. It was a different journey than normal.
of course. So when did it start? Well, my best friend Hannah, we met through dance, and she lived in Canada and I lived in LA. And I don't know when you were like which chapter you were there for. I think you were there at the very, very beginning, but we at first started seeing each other, but it wasn't really like official just yet because I honestly was still working on myself. I think you know this, Pranilla. You were a big help. But we were trying to figure out how we were going to make it work in a relationship because it's 3 hours delay. We were like in different places in our lives as well. And we were best friends, first of all. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever like jumped from best friends to dating, but that's something that is dangerous because you're kind of playing with fire. And I have not had the best experience in my life in the relationship department. And so to me, I think there was fear there, definitely fear that it would break a friendship, but also fear that I would see a different side going into a relationship of Hannah. But no, Hannah has always been the safest person, the most understanding, the kindest soul, and I think she's someone that definitely healed me. And Hannah is someone that definitely took me out of my comfort zone, and it was unexpected too because she was a best friend. So at
Mm.
first it was, the first few times we were just like, haha, like I guess we were way too drunk. Let's not talk about it. We're just best friends. But then eventually, when we started talking about it a little bit more, we realized that we had feelings for each other.
And
And so, yeah,
I wanna, because I have a lot of female listeners, and I know that you've had relationships with men in the past,
yep,
and at one point you realized I'm just into humans, right?
yes,
And same with her, I believe. And I remember you speaking about certain challenges when you wanted to open up about this to the
right,
world. And the listeners, for anyone who potentially feel that way, but have scarcity of whatever they could be
yes.
fearful of, I think you're so brave. And I would love to hear how you navigated that.
Thank
And
you.
her
That's
as
nice.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, no, for sure. I think at some point, I definitely grew up in my household with the narrative of like any type of queerness is wrong. I think I was often questioned, but not really questioned, more so like, you're not gay, right? Like, you're not a lesbian, right? And lesbian in my vocabulary back at home was kind of like a bad word. Like, it had a really negative connotation. And so I think for me, stepping into that felt like a danger zone. And my family had a lot of trauma around, well, around queerness, and not valid. Just a lot of things were blamed on queerness that shouldn't have been. So I think there was a lot of trauma to unpack around that. And so I think for me to even think of exploring any type of queerness would have totally been probably triggering for people around me, or probably been something very scary. I think a lot of people's perspective is like, oh, careful, you don't want the world to be violent to you or to be mean to you. And so I think there's that whole narrative of like, regardless if people have good intentions and want to protect us, it's doing the complete opposite. You're not protecting us by pushing us further into the closet.
Yeah.
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 And so I think for me, maybe that's where some of the narrative of like, oh, we were just drunk, or we're just friends, or maybe that's where it came from. But I definitely think that I definitely love just humans. I think any connection is pure, and that can be different for different people. But for me, definitely, I think the conversations we had were around that. I think my connection is just, it doesn't really matter what vessel you come in, as long as when we speak, we have a connection, as long as, we have the same values and want to grow in the same direction. I think that's what's important to me. And so yeah, I think that's where we connected.
I think that's so beautiful. And what would you say to anyone who maybe even just want to explore that because they're curious, or they're in doubt, or maybe they know, but they're too afraid to
Mm.
share it because of that judgment or whatever beliefs are around them? It's,
Yeah, I think honestly, like, just knowing that there's no final destination and there's no like label in concrete, I think it's definitely something that can be explored. It's definitely, there's no pressure in like going in one box and staying there, or putting a label and keeping it. I think my journey has been like pretty much all over the place. At first, people were telling me what my label was, because they were like, oh, you were with a man and now you're with a girl, so you're bi. And I was like, not necessarily. I think there's so much vocabulary that can validate your experience. And I think it's okay to explore. I think it would be good if there's an inch of fear, to sit back and think of where that fear comes from, and if it comes from yourself or if it comes from someone else's voice. And I think it's important to go and find whose voice that is, and then just know that there might be healing to do around that, because oftentimes it's not your own voice that you fear. It's someone else's voice that put things in your head, or that has that narrative, that voice that you hear. If you're pulled in one direction and this happens, I think you need to sit and listen and try to see where that comes from.
I love hearing you
Yeah.
say this because this is the type of conversations we were having back in the day when we lived in
Yes.
that apartment together. I don't know, 9 years. We met 10 years ago, but that must have been 9 years ago that we would have those
Mhm.
deep chats every night. And I can feel and tell, you can probably with me as well, but I can feel how much of that work you've done. It's amazing because when you do that type of work, it's not like necessarily, yes, of course, your words and what you say, but it's like your whole energy and how you show up for in life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone listening can relate to either themselves having gone through that, or seeing someone who's gone through that inner transformation, and how it just completely affects your whole aura and just energy and
Yes.
way. And I feel that in you. And sometimes, when you hear it from someone you've known for so long and you haven't seen in a while, it's a little different to hear it from
Yeah.
them. So I just want to say that I really, really see it in you, and it's so beautiful. And I
I
know
appreciate
that
it.
what
Thank
you
you.
do today with the dancers you work with, the work you
Mhm.
do, that it empowers them. And just like you inspired me and continue to inspire me, you do that for everyone that is around you. And I just want to share that
You're
with you
so
and
kind.
acknowledge
I
it.
appreciate you. You're so kind. You know what? You saying that, it kind of brought me back to a moment where I remember you. practicing this exercise with me. You had me go in front of the mirror in my room, and you had
Yeah.
me speak. You had me speak to like my younger self or inner child, and I was not able to do it. I was
Yes.
so uncomfortable. I
I
was so
remember
uncomfortable.
this.
I couldn't even look at myself. I didn't even know, like, I couldn't picture my younger self. I was so disconnected. I was so scared to even go there. Like, it was, yeah, you were like coaching me through that. I
This
remember.
brings me so much joy.
Yeah, yeah, you were coaching me through that. And I still tell people about that. Like, I still like, I'm like, yeah, this one person was really like, or this one person,
Whoa,
this
that's
friend.
amazing. I like it's so interesting. I have a coaching community, like a an online community, and I make them
Yeah,
do it too. And I love that I
do
made
it.
you do it back in the day. That's
Do
so
it. Don't wait.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyone listening, this is your sign. There is a
do it.
reason that you listen to this episode. It's because you got to do it. And if it's hard today, you keep practicing tomorrow and the day after,
Yeah,
and eventually you're gonna show up and be a
yeah.
completely different human. It's wild what it does.
The hardest part is always the momentum of the beginning. It's like,
Yeah.
it's always like, it's
Oh,
so
it's hard.
uncomfortable. Yeah, but that's why they call it growing pains, because it's painful to look back. It's painful to go into that. Like, you don't, yeah, you don't want to like, they exist emotionally too, not just in the physical, like you're growing through it and it's so uncomfortable. But my favorite phrase that I tell my dancers is get comfortable being uncomfortable. You want to find comfort in discomfort because it's where you grow, it's where you learn. And if you're not uncomfortable, then you're kind of settling in a space. You're kind of, you're going to stop growing. You have to keep finding that discomfort. You have to.
Yeah. And you know what's so perfect to be aligned with what you're saying? My podcast
Uh-oh.
is called Challenge Your Norm. So
Stop.
we're literally, it's perfect. It's amazing. And it's so true. It's so true. That's where the growth is done. It's in that discomfort. So anyone
Yeah.
listening, this is your sign. This is such
Sorry.
a full round moment for me. I feel like this moment is very special for me. During our whole conversations, I've been having shivers on my whole body. Like
Oh,
something is happening within me right now. I'm also turning 30 in a couple of weeks, and it's like my 10-year anniversary from coming to
stop.
LA. So I feel like this is just like it's like a whole like
Yeah.
round circle of
Yeah.
which, by the way, we've been talking about doing a 10-year anniversary soon with the other girls. I
Yes,
don't know
me
if it's
too.
happening, but we would like to make it happen. It would be
Like
amazing for us
we
all to be
have
together.
to. We have
Yeah.
to. We
I'm
have to meet
I'll
like who
travel
we are today.
wherever.
I'm like, we have to meet who we are today. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we all met like fresh versions of ourselves, like in
Yeah.
LA. Like, yeah, I feel like we're not the same people. Like, I think, or we're more ourselves. I think
Yeah.
that there's like this settling that happens. When people are like, you came home to yourself, like it's not that you change, it's that you become more yourself. You shed everything you didn't need, like you unmasked, you just kind of unlearned what doesn't give you purpose, and then you just became more yourself. And it's like nice to meet you again, like the more version of you that you are today.
I love that so much.
Uh-huh.
It's so
Uh-huh.
true. And we have to do this now. Like I'm not letting it not happen.
We
I feel
have
like it'd be
to.
amazing.
We have to. We have to.
But also because I'm curious. I want to know
Tell me.
what are your like now, what are you excited about in life? Like what are the goals, the dreams, the things that you're working towards right now? You can just share one thing that comes to your mind.
Mhm.
But is there something that you're excited about right now?
Yes, I'm so through my experiences, either life experiences or like within my career, I feel like I've learned so much and I have so much baggage to share with people that my like new passion or new excitement or new purpose lies in helping the next generation of dancers head into the industry. So I have this training program, and they are training at a high caliber dance wise, but we go even deeper than that. It's called beyond belief because sometimes we have to go beyond your own beliefs. Like you can't even imagine what life has in store for you because you don't even see your own worth. So I want those dancers to know what I see in them, and then I want to help bring them there. And
This
all
is
that
so
through.
you and so beautiful. I freaking love it.
Thank you, thank you. And of course, that's with me and Hannah. So what's even better is it's built with love. So we both have the same values when it comes to that, and we both have the passion to give back to dancers, and we make sure to help them find their voice, find their value, find who they are before they head in an industry that's going to potentially challenge them. Well, that will most probably, actually, I promise it will be challenging. The industry is a challenging place. But yeah, we want to make sure that they have the right tools to navigate an industry that will put their values in question, that will put their self worth in question, an industry that might tell them they're too much, they're not enough, or that they don't fit in certain boxes and that they don't have the right casting. So I think it's really important to build up these humans to make sure that they're ready and well versed and make sure they have the right tools to survive this industry and who knows, probably even this life. So that's what excites at the
That is
moment.
so exciting. And I love that you're really using both the dance,
Yep,
all the work and the lessons, but also the inner growth is really the healing, all of
I
that.
have
You're
to.
combining the two, which is so you and so beautiful. And I think what every dancer needs. So I love that. That's beautiful.
Thanks. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. It's important
And
for
it's in
me.
Canada, right? So for
Yes.
any dancers who would be interested in it, they
Yes.
got to come to Canada.
You have to. Montreal's the place to be.
But for, I do have a last question that I want to ask you. But for anyone else who wants to continue to learn
Yes.
from you and see everything you're up to, where can they find you? Where can they
Mm.
follow you? Where can they be on this journey
Yes,
with
yes,
you?
yes. You can follow me on Instagram. My full name, Janick Arseneau, no space. I think that's the main space where I put all my things. I also, in my bio, you can see my account to my program, Beyond Belief. I also have a couple account with Hannah. That's
I
in my
love
bio. If you
it.
want to follow my journey with her. Yeah, that's where I post most of my things. And it's a personal and a business account. You know me, I can't separate anything. I'm all of me. It's all there.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Everyone go check her out. She is a beautiful soul.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. My podcast is called Challenge Your Norm. And I want to ask you if you had to give the listener one challenge that could help them improve their life or think or something that comes to your mind that could help them be better, live better, be happier, whatever comes to your mind in a way that they can challenge their norm, what would that be?
It's so interesting. I love that question. I definitely, the first thing I saw was this. So
Yeah.
I challenge you to tune in. Tune
And
in.
she's, for anyone who's not watching this, she's
Oh,
doing
right.
like little voice in the back of her head. No, but you don't know that. Some people are just listening. So she's doing a little like chatter in the back
Uh-huh.
of her head with her hand.
True. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I challenge you to tune in to that inner voice and see what it's saying. I think sometimes it's playing in the background. We don't necessarily hear it, or we think it's our own. So I challenge you to listen to what it's saying and then either say, thank you, I don't need it, or dig deeper. Where does this come from? When did I first hear it? And what does it bring me today? Or should I release this? So I'm letting you listen to your own little voice inside your head. I challenge you to do that.
I love it. That is so good. Oh my gosh, I've loved this conversation. You've given me shivers for the last 14 minutes. Amazing. I am so grateful that you were willing to come on here and share your journey and all your beautiful lessons and words and wisdom with us. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that I got to meet you, how you've inspired me and lit a fire in my butt and believe that I could actually do crazy things. You
Yes.
were the reason I believed that I could get an artist visa as well as a dancer, which I
Stop it.
eventually
Stop it.
did get. And all the moments we had in that beginning and just getting to continue to watch your freaking crush life and grow and evolve. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I hope you give yourself as many flowers as you give others because honestly, I'm not sure if you even know how much you change lives, even with a single, a single contact, a single phrase. I think that you just brighten every room that you come in, and you continue to do it.
Thank you.
And it's so pure, it's so you. I can tell you're standing in your light, and joy looks really good on you. I'm so, so, so proud of you.
You're the best. I
I'm
love
so proud of
you.
you. I love you.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. If you enjoyed it, I hope you want to share it with someone who you think could find it inspiring as well. Subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if you feel called to join my Dream Life Society, where I have all of my workout programs, all of my recipes, my meal plans, my journaling challenges, which are going to help you completely shift your self-identity and the greatest community on earth, then I'll put the link below for you to join us. And other than that, I hope that you take Janick's advice of listening to that inner chatter, questioning it, and diving deep into it, because that was some beautiful advice. I hope you have a beautiful day. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.